Well, we have the Rhinox Rake Riddle Bucket here. This is a cross between a land rake and a riddle bucket. We want to jump in and look at the 5 best uses and how it can make you more efficient. So the first use is removing brash and overgrowth from the surface of a field or a plot of land that you need to reduce back to bare earth so that you can then overlay it or put substance back on top. So how does that work? As you can see, it's got all these narrow tines that are right across the width of the bucket. And what this does is digs into the surface of the earth and pulls back the brash and the overgrowth, leaving a level surface that can be raked over and over to give it a fine finish. The benefit of this over a land rake is that the land rake is used to remove large and heavy objects, whereas the Rake Riddle Bucket has narrower tines and so is used for more smaller and subtle items that might need just lifting out and removing and shaking into a separate pile. Point 2 is that you can actually use it for the complete opposite to the brash and the overgrowth, which is short grass and turf. So where you've got to build a big flat area for a shed or a patio or a driveway, the tines are profiled nicely to peel back the surface of the turf and leave a flat finished area that you can then rebuild back on top of. So point number 3, that's riddling out rocks and roots and brash that you want to separate into a separate pile. So how does this bucket work? Exactly like a riddle bucket would do, but it has a wider surface area, so you can scoop through whilst you're grading back or tearing off the surface, and then you can lift it up and move it over to one side and shake the bucket as you would with a shaker or riddle bucket. And what that does is separate out the larger rocks and roots from the fine soils that you want to keep and reuse maybe as a topsoil in some other area of your property. So point 4, that's finishing and surface prep. This bucket is an excellent tool for finishing and levelling out a surface. So you might have a driveway, you might have a big area of your garden that you want to finish off and leave in a position where you can put turf back on top. You might have a soft play area in a park where you want to put some wood chippings in, and these narrow tines work very, very well in raking out and leaving the surface flat and just broken up enough that it leaves a perfect finish for your next part of the job. The final point that you can use this versatile attachment for is carrying items around. So as you can see, it's profiled nicely like a grading bucket is, and you could stack large rocks or logs inside this and tilt it up and then carry it across the area of land that you might want to transport the item. You could also use this in conjunction with a thumb, so this would pincer and hold that item in place where you're going over uneven ground. One point we just do want to point out here though is that where you've got smaller stones or rocks and you use the power of the excavator and the thumb together, this can push and lodge or wedge smaller rocks between the 2-inch tines, possibly causing damage, meaning that the attachment doesn't work as well in the future. This is a niche task, but it is a great way for you to fully utilise this excellent Rake Riddle Bucket. So there you have it, the 5 best uses for this Rhinox Rake Riddle Bucket. If you'd like to know more about how you can use this attachment, then follow us on our channel and click on this video here, which will give you a lot more insight onto how it can be used in landscaping projects and other things. Well, we have the right gobbledygook. I really